Ready.
Okay, so we are live. So because we don't have a chair, we need to elect a chair this meeting. I will call the meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. I would like to acknowledge that I am participating in this meeting today from the traditional territories of the Shuswap First Nation and the Huipachesset First Nation. I will acknowledge that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded through YouTube to the Regional District website. And we'll start with a round of introductions first. So I'm Heather Zenner, Manager of Administrative Services.
I'm Lindsay Page, Community Services Coordinator.
Director Beckett.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody. My name is Bob Beckett, and I represent Bamfield Area A.
Thank you. Lisa.
Hello, my name is Lisa Bai, and I am a Bamfield community volunteer.
Great, thank you. Christine.
Hi there, I'm Christine Grumman, a Bamfield community member calling in from up at the Bamfield Marine Sciences Center right now in Bamfield, Kuwait territory.
Thank you. Director Jack.
Hi, hopefully you can hear me okay. I am the Director for Holiet First Nations, John Jack, Uklama Sayachet. And I don't know whose territory Richmond is on other than it's the three, but I can't remember exactly. It's not Cowichan though, not those lines. Thanks.
Thanks. And Eddie.
Good evening, everybody. Eddie Kunderman, Operations Manager for the ACRD.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. So we'll conduct the election for chair for the Bamfield Committee for 2026. And just a reminder that the terms of reference state that the chair and vice chair have to be either a director from Hawaii, Uchucklesset, or from Bamfield. So would there be any nominations from anyone on the committee for one of the directors? Go ahead, Director Jack.
I'd like to nominate Director Beckett.
Do you accept the nomination, Director Beckett?
Happily accept, thank you.
Okay. Then I will appoint Director Beckett as chair. And then for vice chair, would anybody like to nominate perhaps Director Jack? Okay. Director Jack, do you accept the nomination? Perfect. Okay. Well, I will pass the meeting over to you, Director Beckett.
Thank you very much, Heather, for that. And I'd just like to acknowledge and thank Moira, who was the vice chair last term, and thank her for her participation and support. So we'll go to item number 3. If I could have a approval of the agenda, unless there is any late items, Heather, or if any of the members of the committee have anything to add.
Nothing from me.
Okay, seeing none, then could I have someone move the agenda, please?
Second.
Moved by Lisa and seconded by John. And all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Item number 4, declarations. Anyone have any conflict of interest at all in the agenda today? And I'm seeing no. That's great. Then we can move on to item number 5, minutes. And 5A, Bamfield Area Services Committee meeting held November 18th, 2025. And the motion is that the minutes of the Bamfield Area Services Committee meeting held on November 18th, 2025 be adopted. Any errors? I'm so moved by John and seconded by Christine. No comments. All was in good order, I believe. So could I have a show of hands? All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you very much. Item number 5B, Bamfield Parks Commission meeting held on December 4th, 2025. And the motion is that the minutes of the Bamfield Park Commission meeting held on December 4th, 2025 be received. So motion to receive. Can I have someone move that motion? Christine moves that motion, seconded by John. Thank you very much, John. All in favor? And that is moved. Thank you very kindly. Sorry, just juggling my other screen here. Item number 6, we have no delegations or presentations. We have no correspondence for action or information. So we'll go right to item number 8, request for decision. And that is, I assume, Eddie, you're going to handle that, are you, sir?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that, Director Beckett. So staff, this report here, staff are recommending an $8 per month increase to the Bamfield water system rates, which will bring the monthly charge to $77 per service connection effective April 1st, 2026. This adjustment is needed to offset rising operating contract costs and support the financial stability of the service. The increase would generate approximately $17,500 in additional revenue in 2026 and $23,000 annually. Staff will continue reviewing the long-term rate requirements, including future increases to strengthen capital reserve contributions, and will bring forward options at a later Bamfield Area Services Committee meeting. This recommendation aligns with the ACRD's strategic priority to responsibly manage assets and infrastructure. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that, Eddie. And Christine, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks for the report, Eddie. My one question is just, is that additional 17K and 20 in the next year, is that over and above what's needed to service the contract? That's money into the reserve, or that's both?
No, that is simply the additional revenue. So it doesn't take into account anything going into capital contributions. When we looked at when we were deciding and kind of putting forth an investigation, as a committee had asked us to look deeper into what the capital contribution increase should be, could be, would be. It was really hard to determine with the information we had at the current time what would be the optimum approach. So we figured the best approach would be to ensure we met the challenges with the new contract. We increased the rates to meet that, to at least ensure we have financial sustainability. And then continue to investigate for a future rate increase what the ideal capital contribution could be. One of the new items we've been doing with our water system and rates annually is really trying to adjust for cost of living increases every year to make sure we are on par with the price of everything in the world, to make sure that we are sustainable. So we would potentially be looking to bring this back later in the year when we're addressing those cost of living increases and have it come into effect in 2027.
Thanks, Eddie. That's useful.
Thanks, Christine. That was a great question. But I must admit, I'm wondering, and I hate to say that I'm a little bit confused, but that's nothing new. What I'm wondering is, what is the message to the community? So when I take a look at the report, and I think I'm on page 9, $8 increase per month. And that's going to help cover the cost of the, additional operating contract costs. But it also, as you've explained, supports the financial stability of the service. And from an asset management standpoint, I'm reading that staff are going to continue to evaluate future increases. I guess I am wondering about what that message communications is to the community. Does that mean that's $8 this year? Staff's going to get back to us, and there's going to be significant increases or a minor increase? What's your thought, Eddie, on how that would look, just to give some reassurances one way or another to the community?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Director Beckett. Excellent question. I think this increase would be $8 a year for 2026. So we'd be looking for that to take effect as of April 1st, 2026. And that is simply to address the increase in costs the system will face due to the new operating contract. When we look at capital contributions and long-term sustainability of the system, we will kind of look at what's realistic, what the system will need, and what those long-term financial plan outlook will look like based on the capital projects we foresee coming. I think it would be an amount that wouldn't be anything egregious or exorbitant. I think when you're look for long-term sustainability and rate increases, you want to make sure it's something that can be taken on by the community and is realistic. So I think we will bring back a report with a variety of options outlining kind of different increases, what that would mean and what that would look like, and what that would add to the capital fund moving forward.
And a timeline, Eddie, when do you think that might be coming forward?
We'll bring a report forward at some point in 2026 when we look at when a future increase would be. What we are trying to do with all our water systems is have new increases ready for January 1 of the new year. This aligns us to project a full year of costs, a full year of budgeting and revenue coming in, and it would ensure that we are keeping up with the cost of any cost of living increases as well.
So there'd be no increase to the taxpayers until 2027, other than the $8 should the committee recommend this to the board.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Eddie? And Christine, as a homeowner in Bamfield, how are you feeling about an $8 a month increase? And what do you think the community's perspective would be on $8 a month?
Yeah, Bob, I think we're fortunate enough to be able to weather a little increase in order to deal with the rising costs. But it is always important to remember that Bamfield has a huge diversity across the socioeconomic spectrum. And so what can be easily taken on board by some households can actually create a real challenge for other households. So hard to say. I think there's going to be a diversity of opinions on that. And it's part of where, I know that there's, when we're dealing with anything with contracts, we need to have some confidentiality around costs and negotiations and so on. But part of my question around how much is going towards increasing actual costs versus the amount going into the capital reserve is because I think that messaging can be useful for a community to understand, at least in a broad brush way, how much is going into reserve versus just actual hard costs. So I think, with your questions for Eddie about, what will the message to the community be? I think it is important to find ways to describe what it is that we're doing now and how much that's benefiting us in different ways. But we know that we have an aging system and we've had some great upgrades in the last few years, but there's also there's a lot in that system that's going to need repair and upkeep in the next number of years. So, I'm really curious about what the next report will say and what the models are coming forward and how we can kind of service that infrastructure properly.
Yeah, and my perspective, similar to yours, $8 a month. I don't go to Starbucks, a couple times, and that covers it. And again, not without getting into the contract stuff, I'm feeling confident and somewhat relieved that we have I believe it's a 3-year contract, Eddie, is that correct, with the Butlers? And I'm pleased that it ended up a local contractor with local staff and knowledge. So that's great. And yeah, we do have to address the asset management. So again, I think I certainly would support this, not to influence any of your votes tonight, but I think it's the right step, the right move forward. But the only thing I would ask is that Eddie, you working with staff communications, is that we come out with water system financing for dummies, so that everyone can understand what we've done and what we're trying to accomplish. Any comments back, Eddie?
Well, thank you for that. I think it's great. I think we can definitely work to put something together. When we bring, we can definitely do that. I'm not going to say water system financing for dummies. I think it's anytime you raise the rates, as somebody who pays water rates, don't love paying water rates, but you want to ensure that you are communicating to the customer, to the citizen in the right way, and we'll definitely put something together to address that.
Okay. And thank you. Does anyone else have any comments before I talk about the motion for a second? Seeing and hearing none. Heather, just for clarification, if this has to go to the board for approval, is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
So all we are is recommending the motion that would go forward to the board.
Yep.
Okay, so the committee is going to be recommending that this motion go forward. So sorry, I'm a little bit confused. We're voting on the motion or just recommending the motion?
So the motion is that this committee recommend to the board of directors to approve the amendments to bylaw 1147. So you're making a recommendation.
Yeah.
Does this committee support the increase?
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So I'll read it out, and then if someone could consider moving that motion and seconding it, then please. That the Bamfield Area Services Committee recommend that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors approves amendments to bylaw F1147, Bamfield Water Local Services Area Rates and Regulations bylaw 2020 to include a water rate increase of $8 per month effective April 1st, 2026. Moved by John and seconded by Christine. Any last minute comments? Just before we have the vote, I would like to recognize staff's efforts in bringing this forward, addressing the contractual issues and then looking at the asset management side of things. So great job, Eddie and Jenny, and thank you all for that. So those in favor of the $8 increase, and that's unanimous and approved. Thank you again for your efforts. Item 9, we have no reports. And Heather, do we have any late business? I don't believe we do. Question period. Are there any questions or comments from the public?
There are no attendees and there were no email responses received, so no.
Very good. We have no in camera. So item number 14 would be motion to adjourn. And before I take that, I would like to thank staff and our volunteers for showing up this evening and conducting this important business. So motion to adjourn. Lisa, we got Lisa there, and seconded by anybody? John, and all approved. Thank you very much. Great meeting, guys. I know it was short. I'm sorry to bother you, but thank you so much for your time tonight.